Well, here we are in week 6 of marketing. So last week we looked at market segmentation, and as you can see from the material, this is fairly scientific. Marketers spend a lot of effort trying to figure out the consumer tendencies of various market segments, such as 60 to 70-year-old males, for example, and then how to appeal to those segments. So a product definitely isn't going to market the same way to a 60 to 70-year-old male than it might to a 20 to 30-year-old female. So, when you watch commercials, you can kind of see which segment of the population that they're targeting. And you had to interpret some census data on your quiz. And this is one basic way that a population can be segmented, where we can kind of see the percentage of a demographic that's in a certain area. And these vary in different parts of the country. Let's look at Florida, for example. So Florida probably has a much more, a higher concentration of older people than the rest of the country, a lot of retirees down there. So marketers may segment that population down in Florida and give much more attention to messages that they craft to appeal to that demographic. So just an example of segmentation. So comments on assignments that I've graded. So this week I graded your current issue number 1, and I'm just gonna talk a little bit about that to let you know what I was thinking, what I was looking for a good assignment, and maybe some things that I took points for. So some reasons that I was looking for in the for argument, the supportive of Native American images as mascots argument, are portraying that mascot in a way that honors a particular person or tribe, such as the Florida Seminoles, and many of you mentioned that. Financial reasons were another reason that you could have argued to keep Native Americans as mascots. It would just simply cost a lot of money to replace equipment, uniforms, repaint walls and scoreboards and buildings to get rid of the old one and put a new one on. Little Rock just changed their logo, not a mascot, but their logo, and it cost a lot of money. We had to redo all of our business cards. And also, we don't know what kind of effect that would have on donors. They may lose donors if they change mascots, or they may gain donors. You could have argued that one either way. And then a lot of you talked about the history and nostalgia that teams have with their mascots and their images, and that was an important argument for as well. And then some arguments against, really the strongest is that sometimes when the images weren't honorable, they could be mocking or derogatory or use language that we can't really even fathom. And a lot of you talked about the Redskins in that regard. And some of you also mentioned that in schools, for example, in high schools or elementary schools or youth leagues, that it maybe prevented that school from being as inclusive as we like to think our educational institutions are. We want everybody to feel comfortable in places where we educate people and try to welcome people into an educational environment. So I was looking for a little bit of depth as far as both sides of the issue, and I really liked it when you went beyond just it's either offensive or it's inoffensive argument. There are some deeper issues at play there. So I was hoping that you went a little bit deeper than just a simply offensive or not offensive argument. And then also when you gave me your opinion on whether or not you favored keep them or get rid of Native American images, I was looking for you to back your opinion up with some of the sources and some of the facts that you found on either side. So, if you said something like, well, Native American images as mascots don't offend me, so therefore I support them. I was looking for, if you want to have that opinion, that's fine, but I was looking for you to back that up, maybe with some other facts that you found in your research, such as in some cases it is portrayed honorably and with collaboration with Native American tribes, like in the Florida State's case. So once you stated your opinion on either side, I was looking for you to back it up with some of the reasoning that you found in your research. So important concepts that we're talking about this week. This week we're looking at the sport product, and we already looked very broadly earlier in this class about a few ways in which the sport product is unique, such as it's associated with emotional attachment, and it's also very intangible. You can't package it and put it on a shelf. You never know what's going to happen. So those are some ways that the sport product is unique. So this week we're going to be going further into the idea of sport as a product. And a couple of the concepts that we will be looking at this week include the ideas of positioning the product image, and how that product is branded, the branding of that product. And all of these things you are going to address in your marketing plan part 1. And speaking of which, that is due at the end of this week. I will have the submission link in this week's content, and you can see the whole assignment, all the parts are in the assignments folder in your left menu. So if you want to know what's coming up with this assignment, what the other parts are, you can see it there in that assignments folder. It's been there this whole time. So I hope you have a great week. I hope you are having a good semester in all of your classes, not just this one. I've enjoyed looking at your work, and I thank you for your good work. So keep it up, and let's have a good week 6.